This is the Wandering Mike.
Welcome, everyone, to the Wandering Mike. Today I'm here with Charlie.
How's it going, pal?
Not too bad. It's a good Sunday morning so far.
Very sunny morning, very warm, but which is what I like. It's very, very different compared to the UK and so forth, which is what I enjoy. So
Right.
there you go.
I mean, especially now in December because the seasons are reversed. But even in summer, I reckon you don't have that.
No, we certainly don't. We certainly don't have that sort of weather in December in the UK. But I mean, I've been here before, like in my first year,
Right.
and so forth. But yeah, I'm still trying to get used to the weather again, especially the heat.
Yeah, especially here in Queensland, it's quite a humid heat as well.
It is. I was in Melbourne for 5-6 months in my first year, and the weather there is very much like the UK, like a bit more extreme,
Right.
of course. But that's why they say 4 seasons in a day.
Yeah.
And it can rain, it can be super cold, and all that stuff. But further up north, it seems to be a lot more consistent with regards to the warmer weather and
Yeah.
the likes.
Yeah, because we are getting like very close to the tropics. Like Cairns, pretty much already on. I mean, the comparison I always have is because I lived in Jakarta for 1 year. I was studying there, and there it was really like very consistent. Like year round, you pretty much have your 35, 40 degrees all year. Like there is literally no seasons.
Yeah.
The more you go up to like Cairns and the like, I think that's what you're gonna get.
Yeah, I mean, I went up to Cairns myself. That was the last part of my trip up the East Coast before I came back to Melbourne.
Right.
But I know, like, especially Darwin as well. Darwin is for the most tropical part, right?
Yeah, it's that's
even more north. And yeah, I can only imagine what the humidity is like and that stuff, you know?
Yeah. I guess the only seasons they do have there, like they do have seasons, which is just dry and wet season. It's just, sometimes it rains a bit more, but even when it rains, it's still 40 degrees.
Yeah. Oh gosh. I don't know whether I can deal with that. I can barely deal with the 36, 37 degrees at the moment. So yeah, it's fun.
And we're not even in summer yet, we're just filling up to.
No, Jesus Christ, no, we're not. We're not even in the summer yet. That's ridiculous. Yeah, it's especially when you come from the UK, as I'm assuming numerous people on your podcast have already said, but like we don't get that weather. We literally people, it gets to 25 degrees and then people will go to Brighton Beach and pack out the beach and get the barbecues out and so forth. You said it to a normal Australian guy, they'll just start laughing. I don't blame them, because that's your standard weather here.
It was like 25 degrees, I go snuggle up with my blanket. But yeah, so people already know now that you're from the UK. But if you just want to do a little introduction, we always do let the people tell where they're from, and then basically anything they want. It can be as short and as long as you want, but it's just a little introduction to our conversation.
Sure, yeah, no worries. Like I said, yeah, from the UK, from a town called Gravesend in Kent, which is like 20, 30 minutes south of London.
Right.
Lived in the UK most of my life, and in the last, 6, 7 years, I've been traveling a lot more. I've just been doing a whole bunch of stuff, been a lot more creative with regards to my hobbies and so forth. Like I told you before, I'm a rapper.
Right.
I have my own YouTube channel, not related to rap, but with regards to like doing anime reactions and so forth. What else? Yeah, I'm just enjoying my life in Australia at the moment. I'm on my 2nd year working holiday visa. That's where I'm at so far. Just enjoying life, and then just enjoying my time in Bundaberg, and just seeing where life takes me, I guess.
Cool. So yeah, there's a bunch of stuff in there that I'll definitely have a lot of questions about. I think the first one, though, I always like to take it a bit back and take it chronologically. So you said like about 6, 7 years ago, you started traveling more. You started what you said, like being more creative and all that sort of stuff.
Mm.
Um, I mean, without obviously need to go into too much personal stuff, but 6, 7 years ago, what was the motivation for that that change? Like, was traveling always something that was kind of part of your life, or were you just like, "Oh, now I wanna go out," and
No, 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 no. It was certainly certain situations in my life that brought me to that point in the first place. I mean, if we went back 2017, 2018, I felt like I was in a rather monotonous stage of my life and
Right.
so forth. Like I was doing the same routine every week with my girlfriend at the time and so forth. I was also juggling construction work and also working as a police officer in London,
Oh, right.
like twice a month, as a voluntary officer
Mhm.
and so forth. But became rather monotonous and boring. And then, family grievances happened within my family, and I found out that my cousin was actually heading to South Africa for a road trip.
Ah,
So it's
cheers.
the end of 2017. I just messaged my cousin. I was like, "Hey, like, is there room for one more?"
Yeah.
So uh, yeah, I met my cousin and his friend Zara in Cape Town,
Hmm.
and then we went up the Garden Route from Cape Town all the way through Knysna, Port Elizabeth, Monsell Bay, uh, Coffee Bay, and we finished in Durban. And then that's when I came back to the UK after that. But that in itself uh, started something for me where I wanted to completely change my life. And so I resigned from the police, split up with my girlfriend at the time, applied for uni, got into uni, and then that's where I've met my two best pals along the way.
Hmm.
Um, and I think, yeah, I mean, and there have been a couple other things since that point, which also, sparked more of my creative side and I guess my desire to travel a lot more. It's like when you get your first tattoo, right? Or you got
Yeah.
your tattoo and so forth. Usually when you get your tattoo, you get your first tattoo, or you do your first bit of proper traveling. It's like a bug. Like you just want more and more of it, right?
Yes, definitely.
And yeah, I'd say, yeah, the last 6, 7 years for me have been rather adventurous. It's been quite full on. It's been quite, yeah, I've been doing a whole bunch of different crazy stuff. So like being in Bundaberg now, I think for the next few months, I think it'll be a good time for me to just chill out and reset and just decompress, enjoy myself at the same time, meet everyone, have a great time. Everyone here is great. I love them to bits. They're
Yeah.
a whole bunch of nice people all the time. But I think also for me, it's just a nice way for me to just take a step back as well, like away from the city life and so forth, and then just take things slowly and just enjoy myself.
Um, so do you do you think from your experience that you just shared, that well, I don't wanna ask if that leading because I
Uh,
have an opinion on it, but I honestly wanna hear
well,
your
go on.
opinion on it. So you think it is easier, um, to think about the things that you actually want in life once you have, like, a breakout moment, like maybe your South Africa trip was, rather than you think it's harder to do things like that if you were just staying in London, if nothing ever happened in that regards and you just had your job and all that.
Mm.
You think if you just did that for 10 years, you would still be able to have like have broken out? You get kind of what I mean?
No, yeah, no, I fully understand what you're asking, and my answer to that is no. I don't. You would not. For me, I would not have been able to be at the point of my life where I am now, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I mean, I'm quite a spiritual person in that regard.
Yeah.
I would not be where I am right now had I not taken so many risks, had I not gone left field as such with things I've done in the past and so
Yeah.
forth. If I didn't, uh, basically, the way I've seen myself is the last 4 or 5 years, I've basically treated myself like a guinea pig sort of thing. Like, oh, this might be quite interesting. Let me see what that's like and have a little taste for it and see what's going on. And what I've discovered is unless you take risks, unless you do traveling. I mean, look, people don't like traveling. People don't want to travel all the time, and that's fine. There's no judgment on that. But what I do think is, if you don't put yourself in uncomfortable situations, if you don't chase what you really want to do, even if it might scare you, or anything, if you don't do any of these things and you do stay within your comfort zone, your bubble, which a lot of people do. I know a lot of people in my life who do that. I don't think you're going to get the most out of life that you want unless you take that step out of your comfort zone.
And I totally agree with that. So, and yeah, like you said, that nuance as well is like everyone has the thing that they're more drawn to. Like you said, not everyone has the need to travel, and that is fine. But like you said as well, I always tell my friends or people that ask me, it's like, if you're already asking me, like, oh, how can you do all these things? Aren't you scared? Like, then it's already in your mind. Like, if you're already, and that's the thing you said about fear as well. Like, if you're already saying, oh, I could do this, but no, it's too, then you should definitely do it. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. And that's where, for me, whether it's me performing on stage, doing my music and so forth, whether it's, I don't know, like even like recording my anime reaction videos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
A lot of these things could still feel, or even the simple concept of going on a date with someone. Like, you know, even that, like, it's always, what I always think is, it's always before you do something, right, that it feels the most daunting. All the thoughts come up like, oh, what if this happens? What if that happens? What if I mess up? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But when you're in the moment, you forget about it all. And then afterwards, you think to yourself, oh, that actually wasn't that bad. Yeah, all that thinking was for nothing, right? So that's what I think. It's better if you just go for it. It's better if you just go all in, whatever it may be. Don't worry about what you think beforehand. Just go for it. And afterwards, the most likely outcome is it wasn't as bad as what you thought. And in fact, it was probably the best outcome for whatever you did.
Yeah. I can definitely attest to that as well. Like, it's, and also, yeah, like you says, well, like, not everything is going to work out. That would just be too ideal. Like, if you try a million different things and a million different things go right for you, that's just not just not probable. But
Yeah.
like I said, it's never going to be as bad as what you thought up before. Like, it's not going to be, because yeah, it's a weird thing where our minds are kind of creating this. Yeah, it isn't even the reality, because it just feels more severe when it's in our heads.
Yeah.
Like, once it's physical and it actually happened, that the moment is lived, like it's never that bad.
Well, no, I mean, the human mind is so complex in that regard, especially with regards to the modern human mind with modern society and so forth. Like,
Yeah.
we can think of so many different scenarios in our heads that could potentially happen, but the most likely outcome is none of those scenarios will actually happen in terms of negative ones and so forth, right? And yeah, it's just the way I say it is life. I always say life is not black and white. Life is not linear, right? With regards to how your life goes, how you progress in your life. It's always gray area, it's always nuance, and it's always very particular context, very specific context. Like, not one person's situation is always the same as another's, right? So it's just, yeah, it's complicated. It's complicated, like the mind is complicated. The way, like, you can just think of all these, you can ruminate about negative experiences or negative thoughts. But then when you're actually in the moment, which is the most important thing, being in the present moment as much as you can, like, it's a night and day difference, you know? You could, like, oh, I don't know, I'm going to miss this bus. What could happen if I miss this bus? And then I don't actually miss it. And you're like, oh, it's for nothing. What did I worry about? You know what I'm saying? It can be just as simple as that.
Um, a thing because you mentioned yourself before that you are quite spiritual.
Mm.
Do you think that, and to give you my opinion on it, I think being in the moment and always living in the present definitely has a very big amount of how enjoyable your life gets and how big the quality of what you get out of life is.
Mm.
And do you feel like your spirituality um helps you with being present and being in the moment?
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's good to have a sort of foundation with regards to what you believe in spiritually and so forth. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like a religious thing or anything like that. It could just be a spiritual concept in general,
Yeah.
right? But I feel like, you know, if you have a belief in something, it makes it a lot easier for you to remain disciplined and remain in a more positive and present mindset. Whereas people who don't have a belief in much, not in a sense of nihilism or anything like that, but if they just don't have a belief in such things, or they might not have much of a purpose in their lives at the moment, which
Right.
can take a lot of people time to find that purpose, right? When they don't, it can be very. I feel like it can be very easy for people in general to go into a negative thought pattern and not be present, always think about the
Yes.
future, always ruminate on the past and so forth.
Yes.
Like an example I have is one of my best friends from home, Dylan, which he might listen to this podcast. Shout out to Dylan.
Without a doubt.
Shout out Dylan. He lives in Bethel Green, and he has his family, a Christian family. His
Right.
his dad is a pastor that works in the church, like below their apartment actually. Um, and what I've seen from him, and I've told him this myself, is he seems like a very good family dynamic and a very good uh, friend circle as well.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of that has come down to the fact that they're part of a Christian community, right? And whilst I'm not a religious person myself, I have seen the benefits of people being a part of a religious community or spiritual community,
Yeah.
right? And it's, I mean, there's a shared purpose, common, there's shared common values and beliefs and so forth. So it makes it a lot easier for someone to connect with someone else within that sort of circle, right? And I think that's why there's so many. It's like fellowship groups in terms of religious fellowship groups or spiritual fellowship groups. Um, where like, people might be suffering from alcoholism or drug abuse or mental health issues or something like that. When they join a fellowship, like a lot of those pains and urges and so forth kind of do get alleviated quite quickly or quite significantly. And yeah, like I said, there's so many different ways that religion can help. But even just in the spiritual sense, before I came to Bundaberg, it was the night before I came to Bundaberg, and I went to this. Um, it was like, I can't remember the name of it now, but it's like a weekly meetup in Gold Coast, and it's like a meditation meetup and so
cool.
forth. And like, I guess the last couple of years, I've been in certain environments where reflecting back on it now, they've been rather quite toxic in nature and didn't align with me
Hmm.
after up to a certain point where I feel like, and this is the thing as well, when you do experience different things and you do put yourself out of your comfort zone, certain things that you do and you reflect back on it, they can also help you to understand what you do and don't want in your life either,
Yeah.
right? And so after that, I was like, this seems like a good idea. Let me go to that and see what it's all about. And honestly, it was probably the nicest, healthiest, most authentic meetup social group I had been to for quite a while, actually.
Hmm.
So it put me in a very nice place before I came to Bundaberg in the first place. But yeah, long story short, if you can find a healthy social group or a healthy community, or with like shared common beliefs and goals, whether it's with regards to morals or just a shared interest in hobbies, it can make a night and day difference to your life, I think.
That's that's a very important point, that I've also experienced in my life. And um, I guess also for the people listening now, to set like realistic things, like do you think that in this day and age, that this is easy? Like, not obviously the friends you make, the people you meet, like they're not at all like evil or anything,
No.
but because a lot of them, because you say like, a healthy group and all that, and if you have good friends or you have good fun with, but they do consume alcohol, they do go into using drugs recreationally and all that. Like in our society nowadays, it, I just feel like, but yeah, I want to hear your honest opinion
Mm.
on it. It's like these things have just become so normal and widespread that it is getting harder to find a really morally based group of people in the sense you just described it.
Yeah, and it's not even just with regards to friends. It's regard. I feel like it's with regards to like dating, especially in the modern dating space as well. Like with regards to finding intimacy and connection and so forth, and not even in a dating sense, like platonically as well.
Mm.
Finding intimacy and connection with people with regards to friends as well. That's also can be hard to find. For me, I don't make friends that easily, but only because I'm rather discerning
Right.
with regards to who I do become friends with. If I click with them after a while, fine, no, great, we can be friends. But I don't just, oh yeah, we'll be friends straight off the bat. Like no, because there's context to it, and there's different things that could be going on in someone's life that you don't know about, which could
Yeah.
affect your friendship and so forth. But with regard to alcoholism and drug taking, I mean, it's also context to that as well. I don't usually drink that much alcohol anymore. I don't go to clubs. I don't go to pubs. I go to pubs sometimes, but usually it's like nightclubs and stuff like that. I don't go to. They just don't fulfill me anymore.
Right.
They generally don't fulfill me. With regards to drugs, I mean, in a more natural sense, like I think there are drugs that can be of benefit and so forth. But there are obviously others that are certainly not at the same time. And I feel like it depends on what sort of environment you're in as well, right? Because it's like, for example, I go to this festival once or twice a year in the UK called Small World.
Mm.
My favorite place to go to, love it. Performed there before, all my pals go, love it. It's a very hippie and free spirit festival,
Right.
right? The problem with that is, which I believe is the majority of the people who go there, where they're so free spirited, they're, I wouldn't say they're grounded in their lives. They can be, and they can be more of the emotionally avoidant type of people.
Yeah.
And from my experience, especially before I came to Bundaberg, the last couple of weeks I've been in, the first couple of weeks I've been in Australia, I don't click too well with emotionally avoidant people. I'm just not of that ilk. Like I would say I'm rather deep and introspective and so forth. And I need, especially like romantic sense or whatever, like I need to have that sort of intimate connection with someone, and not just I don't do casual. I used to, but I don't do casual anymore. It's just that it doesn't suit me anymore. It's not fit for purpose in my life. It works for other people, whatever, but like it's just yeah, it's just like I said, certain environments bring certain people, certain types of people to a particular venue or group or something like that. And once you realize, oh, okay, this is what this environment's all about. If it works for you, stay there. If it doesn't, pull yourself away and find something else. And especially when there is alcohol and drugs involved and whatever kind it is, um, it can either stimulate you more in a positive way, or it can be a recipe for disaster, basically.
Yeah, for me personally, I feel like, but obviously it does depend from person to person, like you've just said, like
Mm,
it's about really, but being honest with yourself and just
mm,
just looking inwards and seeing, okay, well, if it's honestly not bad for me, it isn't. But if it is, maybe a step away from it. And for me, um, being like surrounded in Portugal, like a lot of my time, being surrounded by alcohol, being surrounded by drugs and partaking in all of that, it just really wasn't good for my productivity in the sense that I defined it for myself. Like it's always whatever people want to do, how whenever you feel happy and fulfilled with your productivity, and for the productivity that I defined for myself and the things that I would like to do in my life, it just felt hindering. So that's why I decided 3 years ago to just abstain from everything.
mm,
And that's basically, um, was my personal decision. And it was, yeah, that's kind of where I'm coming from, where it was like, I loved spending time with all the people, all my friends that I spent time with. And we had like the best memories and like the best life experience that also helped me at that stage to like grow and become who I am today. But yeah, at the end, I had to step away from it for myself because of the things that I went through in my head, and
mm.
that's a decision I made. So yeah, for me, it just yeah, that was basically just the thinking in my head, because it was like not bad per se, but it's just you have to go into your individual like thing. Well, where do I want to go?
Yeah, I think what you spoke about there, your time in Portugal, I think what that meant to me was your intuition, it was your body telling you, right, this is not serving me any purpose. This
Mhm.
is not good to me for the direction I'm going in my life. So now I have to pull myself back. And and if you are in tune with your intuition with regards to your body and your mind and so forth, it can make making decisions like that, which can be difficult decisions sometimes, it can make them a lot easier if you do truly know, like within you, like what you want and what you know will serve you, what you know will not serve you. And that's the same thing with me. I had to, um, I had to make some decisions recently where I'm like, okay, this is whatever I'm doing right now. It's not serving me. It's not helping me with my emotions, with how I feel, in a positive way or anything like that. So then I have to remove myself from said environment to, and then, heal myself, and, take things slower, like I said, and as Bundaberg is a very nice reset for me. I feel like Bundaberg is a very nice place where people can have fun. They can have fun and do what they want, and but I think also it's a good place to just for someone to just sit back, unwind, and take things at their own pace. And then when they're ready to come back, if they want to, I mean, obviously Bundaberg's, it seems like a nice place to me, and so forth. But if people want to come back into the city life, they can come back in a much more refreshed state
Right.
and a lot more clearer state of mind as well, I would say. But most people, well, I wouldn't say most, but a lot of people in the world, I don't think they ever come to that stage of knowing what they want and knowing what to remove out of their lives. Because where we're surrounded by so much dopamine and stimulation nowadays, and it's not even just with regards to alcohol or drugs or sex or anything like that. It can be anything. It can be apps
Yeah.
on your phone. It could be your phone. It could be how much time you spend on social media. It can be it could be any number of things, because anything can spike a dopamine response in you.
It can be consumerism.
Consumerism,
Right.
and it can give you a high, and that's what dopamine's all about. Like you take you have one little bit of something, and then you like it, it gives you a dopamine high, and then your dopamine, how do you say, your how much you can consume of whatever it is, it gets higher and higher and higher,
Right.
and then it'll come to a point. It's like, okay, I'm not being fulfilled by this anymore, but I'm going to keep going.
Mm.
And I don't think a lot of people have it within them to look at themselves and go, okay, now I need to cut this out completely. Like I said, it can be anything. It doesn't have to be the more hardcore extreme things. It can be any number of things, which might seem minute at the time, but in the grand scheme of things, further down the line, it can become a problem if you let it.
Yeah. And I feel like all the things we just now talked about, like all the things that people might struggle with, social circles, all the other distractions, dopamine, all
Yeah,
these things that you said. Um, we you said like spiritually, religiously, or whatever, belief is a thing that definitely helps with that, and I would honestly agree very much with that.
yeah.
The other thing that you also already mentioned, just to point at it again, is a purpose.
Hmm.
Like when you have that purpose, I feel like, and you said it as well, it's easier to then really think about these things consciously and really be able to see these things. Um, so, because you mentioned a couple of things that you do, yeah, I guess I'll just ask, because you talked about some creative outlets. Is this the purpose that you found for yourself?
I I would say to an extent, yeah. Have I put the discipline and willingness to make these creative avenues the main goal of my life? Not yet, because I would say for myself that I'm going through like a transitional phase in my life where I think I'm stepping into that lane of finding my purpose, right?
Right.
And it's like Carl Jung, the philosopher.
Yes.
Carl Jung says, like, for men anyways, between the age of 30 and 35 is the individuation phase, where that's when men start to finally realize their purpose and their main goals in life and what they want to do and how they want to do it and so forth. So for
Right.
me, I'm 30 now. So I feel like for me, that is the stage where I'm at right now, but I'm still, I'm setting in the motions to find my purpose, because for me, it's like, if you ask me, like, the big question is like, what is the purpose of life?
Right.
And my answer to that is to have a purpose, is to have a purpose. And I think the purpose, whatever you do, right, it will most probably, unless you're a selfish person, it will most probably will be a benefit to other people in the grand scheme of things as well.
Right.
Whether it's doing reactions on YouTube, or whether it could be anything, right? But especially if you're putting yourself out there to the world, you're going to benefit people, because people, whether it's your content, whether it's your music, whether it's a TV show or something like that, they're gonna probably respond positively to whatever you put out there.
Yes.
And it might inspire them, it might give them positive emotions, they might laugh, they might they might let out their emotions and stuff like that. Like, I think that's the thing. I think, yeah, but I think to find a purpose, it doesn't come quickly. It doesn't quite, and in modern society, it's like, I don't know, but for me, it's like by 25, you're supposed to have a car, a house, a wife,
Right.
2 kids, and a dog and a cat. Especially in today's economy, it's not going to work. Doesn't happen,
No.
right? And I think, if anyone like if anyone's dreading about getting older and stuff like that, especially if they're going into their 30s, they have nothing to worry about. Like, you don't have to rush. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You have to be able, you have to find yourself, and finding yourself takes a lot of time. But to circle back anyways, for me, yeah, I'm still finding my purpose. But I think my purpose, like I'd like to start a new YouTube channel, actually. I'd like to maybe give, even though I'm only 30, right? I give life advice to people, because I think throughout my experiences, what I've done so far in my last, especially my last 10 years, I feel like I might be able to help bring something to the table and be able to just, I don't know, shed light on a few different topics about life and help people in that regard. Might not be the most perfect advice, but I'll try anyways and see how it goes, you know?
Well, you should definitely do that.
Mm.
Like from what we just talked about, like you said, like anything you put out there, I mean, the worst thing that happens is that someone says, "Oh, it's not for me." But whoever it is for, they are going to take something away from it. You know,
Mm.
like whoever you're going to resonate with, and obviously there is people out there that you are going to resonate with.
Mm.
They're going to take something out of it, and that's why I always tell people, just whatever you want to put it out, because the worst thing is no one's going to see it, and so what?
Mm.
You know. But if someone sees it, and it can actually have what you talked about as well, like have an impact, that's, I also feel like that's what we're here for, you know. Like we can just bring ourselves, well, I mean, yeah, if we just talk about scientifically, you know, we're all humans, so if we can
Mhm.
better ourselves and help all humankind to become better, great. For me, it also goes a bit further spiritually, and for me, it's just the whole universe. For me, it's just the whole energy, and if we
Mm.
just all elevate the energy, then the whole experience and whatever it is that we can't even comprehend yet will just rise as well, you know.
Absolutely. And I'm a big believer in like vibrations and energies and so forth as well. And it doesn't even have to be with how you speak to people. It could be how you conduct yourself,
Mm.
how you walk, how fast you move, how slow you move. The way the one bit of advice that I found, I think it's more from like, it's like more, this more of like a tantric sort of exercise, is slow everything down by 10%.
Mm.
Slow down your walking, slow down your breathing, slow down, just just make everything a bit slower for yourself, and you'll find that things in life become easier. And I do believe, like, you can, like, in just in terms of energy, you can attract the people who you want to attract in your life to you, whether that's in a platonic sense or a romantic sense. But obviously you have to put in the work in as well with regards to talking and your
Right.
personality and so forth, you know. But yeah, I don't think, yeah, I think there's a lot of things in the world, a lot of things with regards to life that we haven't fully grasped yet. But I think if you read the right books, if you follow your intuition and just, yeah, do what you like. Sometimes, like, you want to do something. Like for me, like I wanted to come to the Gold Coast first.
Mm.
And it was like, my pals might say to you, why do you want to come to the Gold Coast? I don't know. My intuition is telling me I need to come here. So I'm going to go here. Same with Bundaberg. I only found out about Bundaberg because one of the guys that were here before, Alex, he
Mm.
told me to come to Bundaberg for the work hostel. And immediately for me, I don't know why, it just resonated with me.
Right.
I was like, right, I'm just going to come here and see what happens. Don't know, didn't have a particular reason, but it just felt right. So that's why I've come here, you know? So yeah, just, yeah, if you can be in tune with yourself, I think making decisions and going down a particular path in life, it becomes a lot easier, and it comes a lot more clearer with what you want to do.
Yeah. Yeah, and it just, like you alluded to as well, it's just, it's gonna like lead you there in a sense as well, you know, like all these things are gonna start happening more and more and more. And we also might not be aware of it because, you know, we're just living the experience, but
Mm.
it's always looking back where you can when you can see, okay, well, it just led up to like this whole thing, and
Mm.
now I'm actually on my path. And uh I mean, obviously, because I'm also it's always easy, I think, talking about these things being in a good place in your life. Obviously, downs are gonna be coming. Like it's not gonna be a whole up and up, but in the grand scheme of things, that's also where the belief comes in again. That's where the just sticking with it, and like you said as well, just really knowing and being true to yourself, and then even the downs in hindsight, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, it's something else I learned along the way, you know.
Exactly. I feel like everything that happens in life, they always have a lesson. You know, whether you don't see it right now, or if you see it like a couple years down the line, there's always going to be a lesson to it.
Hmm.
And basically, yeah, I think it's just a case of trusting the process, having faith that the universe is pointing you in the right direction. If something didn't work out with someone in return, so in terms of a relationship or a friend or something like that, then the way I see it is, okay, that opens up more space for me to meet someone else further down the line who's more aligned with me in the first place,
Yes.
right? That is the positive spin you have to put on it as well. And yeah, and that's the thing. You're going to have down days and you're going to have up days. And it's going to be like a roller coaster sometimes. And you don't know, and sometimes you don't know which direction you're going to go in. I don't know what direction I'm going in at the moment, but I have a general idea of where I want to be. That is the main thing. You don't have to have a very specific path you have to go down. So long as it's quite generic, you further down the line, you can compact it into something more concrete afterwards and more specific.
Right.
Once you have a better idea of what it is that you want to do, what you want to get out of life, you know? So yeah, yeah. If you have a firm belief, it doesn't have to be spiritual. It could just be in the universe in general. So long as you have the belief that you know that you're going to be okay and you're going to get somewhere, then I think that's a good starting point for anyone, really.
Yes. Um, and yeah, to the point as well, it's like you have to get going to, because you said you have a generic idea, and to find that specific idea, you're not gonna find it sitting on the couch pondering like, what is the specific idea? No, you have
No,
to move towards that generic
mm,
thing, and then it's gonna show it.
yeah, it's like manifest. I do believe manifestation is a real thing and it can work, but you have to be in the act as well. You can't just, I don't know. You
Yeah.
can't just wish for money. You have a money pot and you wish the money to come. And
Right.
it's like you can't just wish for that to happen. Like you have to make it happen yourself at the same time. Like I do believe in the law of attraction and all that
Right.
stuff, right? What you manifest will come to you, but you also have to be in the process of making it happen at the same time for yourself. And then you let the universe do everything afterwards that it's meant to. But if you're just there sitting and
Mm.
thinking, oh, it's going to happen, it's going to happen, it's going to happen, but you're not, I don't know, you're not typing on your laptop, you're not physical exercising, you're not writing anything down in your journal or writing lyrics or something like that, then it's not going to happen. I think that's the key thing. I think what is it, the old saying of, well, I mean, it's like actions speak louder than words.
Yes.
Right. And that relates to everything. Like someone could tell you that they do a certain thing, or someone can tell you that they've changed, or someone can tell you that,
Mm.
they've been on a personal growth path and they've done this and done that.
Right.
But until their actions say otherwise, just take it with a grain of salt. Right. But also for yourself, don't just say something. For me, when I say I'm going to do something, 99% of the time I do it. And if I don't do it, it's because of some ridiculous thing that's happened or something like that. But I always try and, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to make sure I do my damn best to make it happen, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely one part of that I feel like helps as well with you being more confident in yourself and what you're doing. And because you talked about a lot of things that I'm familiar with and that I believe in as well. And you brought books up earlier, so I don't know if you've ever read The Four Agreements.
I've heard of this. The Four Agreements is by who's the author again?
Miguel, yeah,
Miguel
I
something.
think he's a Mexican, well, at least Latin American author. I don't know
Yes.
where exactly he's from, but I think he might be Mexican.
Well, I only heard of the Four Agreements because there was a song by a rapper. I think I told you before in the van. There's a rapper called Cote de Friend who I met.
Right.
He's from New York, and one of his songs he spoke about reading the Four Agreements. So
Mm.
for that, that's I've never read it. But I know that it's definitely a good book to help people and so forth. That I'm assuming it's helped yourself as well. And
Yeah. And from what we just talked about, I think you'd actually enjoy the read. It's especially for you. I think it's a great fit for you.
yeah,
And the very first agreement, so he basically talks about 4 rules to life that helped him on his journey and becoming the best of himself.
right.
And the first agreement is be impeccable with your word. So it's what you intuitively already are doing. It's like we have to think about what we put out in terms of words, because
Yeah.
you can't just be saying, oh yeah, I'll take care of it, and then you're not gonna do it. Like people pick up on that, and you gonna pick up on that, and then because then you're gonna be basically lying to yourself, which doesn't help your own discipline, your own self-worth, and all those kind of things. So yeah, that's just why I brought up the book, because it is his first rule, and it is a thing that I also that's why I'm very careful about what I promise, what I guarantee, what I say I will do. If I know I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to lie to anyone about
No.
this, you know.
No, and that is very true. That is very true, because it's like, you know, if you don't stick to your word, it's like people, well, automatically people around you will think you're unreliable, you're untrustworthy, and they can't depend on you for things and stuff like that. You don't, yeah, and I don't think no one wants to be seen as a person like that. You know, like no one would want to be like that, and people might do that by mistake, and they might not mean it, but that's the whole point. It's like, don't say something and then do something completely the opposite. Even that, do something completely the opposite afterwards. Because then I'm like, okay, well, now I definitely can't trust you.
I don't know. Yeah.
Exactly, right? But yeah, books. I've got quite a few books downloaded on my Remarkable notepad.
Yeah.
I haven't got into the majority of them yet, but I've got so many lined up. But a few good books which I've already read in the past. There's one book by a guy called Dr. Gabor Mate.
Right.
Right. And his book is called When the Body Says No. And it's more of a physiological book more than anything else. He talks about the fact that basically you have 3 brains. You have your brain, you have your heart, and you have your gut. If the gut's out of sync, your brain's out of sync. If your brain's out of sync, your gut's out of sync. And so same with the heart and so forth, right? And it's just more about like emotions and stuff like that as well. If you keep your emotions pent up, if you don't release anything, stuff like that, that can actually develop into diseases. It can actually develop into ALS, like hardening of your organs and stuff like that. It can develop into so many different diseases that you might not know about. And you might live a perfectly healthy life. You don't drink, you don't smoke, and you eat healthy, but your emotions and how you release them or don't release them will also impact your health at the same time. Right. Because it's just like I said, the human mind is so complex, the brain is so complex, and so is the gut, and so is the heart. And if you don't keep them all in synchronicity together, then further down the line, something could come up, and you might try any different sort of health solutions and supplements and stuff like that. Right. But in the end, it's down to how you feel. It's down to what you've got bottled up inside of you. And once as soon as you release that, as soon as you don't have to cry every week or something like that. But when you feel like you need to, but when you feel like you just need to release something, just release it in a grounded way, of course.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. It It's also, I obviously don't have any scientific proof for what I'm gonna say, and I'm
No.
obviously not a doctor, but
No.
from my personal experience, I also know that when you get sick, obviously not super sick, but like when you feel unwell and all these things, like obviously ibuprofen works, paracetamol, all these things work, but also you don't need to take medication if you just, yeah, like you said, listen to your body, make sure everything's in tune again. And I think that is the best, obviously exercising, but it's the best pre- prevention, is that an English word?
Prevention.
Prevention,
Yeah.
the best prevention of getting sick if you're just in tune with your body. And you said, listen to your body, don't overdo it, don't um put too much stress on it. It needs to be done today. No, it
No.
doesn't, like
Yeah.
all these things. Like you said, I definitely think we are more in charge, maybe that we sometimes think, of our body, and we have a majority to do with if my body gets sick or not.
Yeah, I think the majority of people in the world are just that, and I don't mean this in a criticizing way, but we're just very disconnected from our bodies. We have all this ultra processed food. We might not, okay, and most of us might not drink every day, but when we go binging on drink and whatever else at the weekends and stuff like that,
Right.
and we don't look after ourselves afterwards, right? And then disease X, Y, and Z comes up in the future. And then people are like, oh, gee, I wonder why that happened. I was like, well, okay, because you took this, and that. Now, if you removed, and this is the thing, not just drinking drugs and junk food and so forth, but, like I said, other dopamine, like phones and social media. Like if you took that away from everyone, if you took all of that stimulation away from everyone, right? Beneath the surface, who would they be?
Yes.
Who would they be afterwards? And what insecurities and buried emotions would come out if you starved people of the different stimulations and dopamine that they're always so used to? The TikTok, the freaking Snapchat, whatever else it might be. Then that's when people can truly start to work on themselves. And then that's when they can start to be more in tune with their body and their intuition. And then go down a path of reading these different books and journaling and being introspective and so forth. And that's another thing as well. When people have anxiety and depression, or whatever other, it could be just negative thought patterns in general. In my opinion, it's not just one thing that can fix any of these mental health ailments or anything like that. For me, it's a combination of things. So it's not just therapy. Therapy can help to a certain extent, but it can help, but then you're kind of just stuck in limbo because you've made some progress, but you're kind of at a standstill. Whereas, in my opinion, if you combine 4 or 5 different things together, so healthy eating, exercise, journaling, meditation, and therapy, or whatever else it might be, but as long as you have a combination of them and not just one thing, you are very much more likely to be in a much better position physically, mentally, emotionally, rather than if you're just stuck with one thing. Because I think that's the trap people fall into, is like they think it's as simple as taking one pill or having one therapy session or something like that, and then all of a sudden they're fine. No, it's not. Like you've scratched the surface, but you haven't gone deeper. And I think that's where people slip up a lot of the time. It's a case of they're they don't know what they're doing to themselves until it's too late. And when they do finally realize what they've done to themselves, they don't know necessarily how to go about it, how to go through the process of reversing whatever negative thoughts or physical ailments that they may have.
Yeah. I think everything that you just said, it basically showcases the, if you can generalize it, which you can't because everyone's different, but
Mm.
I think the overlying problem that you also alluded to, which, yeah, we just, especially right now, we want it easy. You know,
Mm.
if there is the easy fix, it's like, yeah, um, I'll get it. And like you said, we have all these easy stimuli that, rather than, oh, I'm gonna sit with myself. No, I'm gonna watch whatever the news show is that people
Yeah,
watch these days, you know?
yeah.
Um, but so I love to ask that question, and but it's usually always a negative response. But we have a really productive conversation. So, do you think, or rather, how do you think, would it be at all possible to remove these stimuli? Because you were talking about, if you take all this away, if you take the TikTok away, and people would have to sit with themselves. But is that a realistic thing to happen?
It can be. It can be, but I think it depends on the individual themselves. It depends on how strong their willingness and determination would be to want to make a change in their lives. Because it's the case of, you could say to someone, I think you should make those changes. And they say, I don't want to.
Right.
You can't force someone to do what they don't want to do, right? Whatever your opinion might be,
Yeah.
they have to come to that conclusion themselves. And it's also just a case of helping people in general. I've had quite a few experiences, negative dating experiences in my life in terms of relationships where the other person, whilst I've had my own problems in the past, the other person have their own problems, which have been quite serious.
Mm.
And I came to the conclusion, and I think it's, it's a pretty solid way of saying it, is you can only help someone so much until they have to help themselves. And once you get to that point, you just have to pull yourself away, or you just leave them to it, basically. So I think it can happen. It definitely can happen. There is a particular way of it to happen, a slow process, a more grounded process, a more understanding process, because it's like anything. When you withdraw yourself from something, the first 2 or 3 weeks, it doesn't have to be drugs or drink. It could be like, you can still have the dopamine withdrawal symptoms. Your mind can be racing. Your mind can go into every possible direction it can go, and it won't be rational or anything like that either. And your body and your mind would want you so much to go back to wherever you were getting that dopamine high on before. But then you have to have the willingness and the determination and the grit to not go back there, right?
Yeah.
So I think you can, and this is not on anyone else. You said no, you can't. I think it's, if the people themselves are also within that sort of cycle, I think then perhaps they might actually say no, it's not possible, because they might find it themselves it's hard,
Right.
right? But if you've already detached yourself away from those sort of stimuli,
Yeah.
then I think obviously, you can say, yeah, I think it's a bit easier in that regard.
Yeah. I'm just always, but yeah, at the end of the day, it is what you said. Everyone has to get there on their own. Because in my head, I'm always thinking, um, well, can't we as a society just do something to just help in the first place? Just don't send out all these distractions, all these stimuli to help them make it easier. But I guess, yeah, at the end of the day, it has to be everyone just by themselves going through a journey and getting to a
Mm,
point where they just decide to abstain from it. And maybe if it does happen, that's my ideal thinking again, on a
mm.
grander scale, then maybe companies that profit off of stuff like that will realize, oh, we can't make money off it anymore, and then it'll go away.
Well, this is the thing, and that's exactly, I was going to touch on that point as well. And like I said before, is like life is not that simple. Life is not, especially in the day and age we live in at the moment, especially with regards to Western society too.
Yeah.
It's we are so inundated with there's so many things around us, TV shows, music, video games, but especially music. Music is not a bad thing. However, when it comes to like movies, video games, music, and all these other different avenues of entertainment,
Right.
they they can have particular messaging behind it. And I don't know about you, but especially what I've seen in Western movies and TV shows, there has been very subtle messaging in there where it's like, oh, politically speaking, socially speaking, geographically speaking, that, you should think a particular way, or they want you to think
Yeah.
a particular way. And when you said about companies not getting profit, the way I say it is this, the most simple way I've said it is this. If there's no wars, there's no arms dealers.
Yeah.
If there's no sickness, there's no pharmaceutical companies. If there's no chaos, there's no politicians.
Right.
I can go on and on. But that's my point. Without, like, they need these things, this chaos to happen in the world in general so that they can get profit in whatever avenue it may be. I'm not going to point fingers. I'm not going to say anything. But if you kind of feel like, oh, but this doesn't feel right, like intuitively, then you're probably right, basically.
Yeah. I feel like I mean, the whole conversation was really, I love to have these kind of
Yeah,
conversations.
yeah, yeah.
When
It's so in depth.
when I was coming in, I was like, "Oh, we're probably gonna talk about your music," and we
Yeah,
didn't. We
yeah.
didn't
No, I
even get
said
to that.
we didn't
Like,
say to that. We said I said to them, I was like, oh, we're probably going to talk about rap and stuff like that, and it just went down a completely different rabbit hole.
yeah. But I feel like we both enjoy these conversations.
Absolutely.
That's why we went into it the
Mm.
way we did. And now I feel like we at a very interesting point where it's like, yeah, all these things need to happen, and as humans, we always kind of, because as long as, like, at least written history goes back, like, these things have always happened. There was always conflicts. There was always everything. And a lot of the inventions we made were driven by conflict, was driven by these human struggles towards profitability, towards like all these kind of things.
Mm.
And I also feel like, oh, I don't know if you feel the same way, but I feel like right now, there was probably times in the human world where it was already at that stage, and maybe even in ancient civilizations, like there was a high level of spirituality. And I
Mm.
feel like right now we are at a time where it is becoming more, like the levels are rising again, where people are more spiritual and they are more open to listen to their intuition again and being like, yeah, like you said, like something might be wrong here.
Yeah.
Um, but again, it's like, is the system, is it ever going to change?
I think it certainly can, but I think the people involved in whatever power systems there are, well, I mean, they need to come out and basically, best way I could say it is this: I think we're at a precipice at the moment in the world where we can either go one way or we can go another way.
Mm.
And I think it's down to the public themselves, to the general population of the world, how that goes. And that's the problem, because you see, when it comes to wars, be it Israel, Palestine, or Russia, Ukraine, or something like that, it's not the people of Russia or the people of Israel, for the most part, that are causing these things. It's the governments.
Yeah.
They're the ones making the rules. They're the ones making the decisions. Now, I'm sure there's millions of Israelis and Russian people who are against this, which they most probably are, right? And I think that's the thing. It's also going back to my first point in the conversation. Life is not black and white. Don't paint everyone with the same brush. They might be thinking the same as you, but they just haven't showed it, or you've just not listened or heard it, or something like that. But with regards, I think the system can change. I think that there are very particular ways that we have to go about it, though, right? Like, more power to the people, more power in local towns and local communities having their own governing rules, rather than a one universal national structure. Because a one universal national structure with regards to laws, legislations, and all that jazz, it doesn't fit everyone. Right? And also, with regards to kids, children, bring back more community centers. Bring back that place of social belonging that they can go to after school. And that way, especially in places like London and Manchester and stuff like that, right, they're getting rid of community centers all the time. Bring back the community centers so they can have somewhere to go to, so they don't get involved in drug dealing or violence and stuff like that, right? With regards to prisoners, right? Based on what they've done as a crime, of course, I don't think you can give everyone the equal opportunity to redeem themselves, but give them open university courses. Let them redeem themselves in that way. Let them take cooking courses, which I'm sure they do already, but make it more openly available to those who want to make better of themselves, right?
Right.
Also, just like other ways of therapy as well, alternative therapy. I won't go into them, but there's so much scientific evidence now for like more natural based ways of people going to therapy and working on their insecurities and their fears and their whatever's lurking inside of them, right? I think it's all there to be explored. But like you said, certain companies and politicians and whatever else, they're not going to get money from it. So they're not going to do that in the first place. So that's why the whole thing has to change. And I'm not saying it's a problem of capitalism. It's not a problem of capitalism or anything like that. It's a problem of the very few individuals involved within these governments and companies. It's not capitalism as a whole. This communism is not the answer or anything like that. It's really not. It's just a case of you have to get out to people who are running the shots, because they're the ones pulling the strings, and they're the ones creating the chaos in the world, and they're the ones that are keeping us divided rather than making us unified, which is what they don't want in the first place.
That was a great answer.
Wow, I tried.
Definitely not have said it any better. While you said all that, I had one question that I probably want to end it with. I was debating if I'm going to ask it or not.
Go on.
But the question I want to ask is, because we talked about spirituality.
Yes.
All that. Do you think, and yeah, I'm just going to ask it like that and you can answer however you want. Do you think that the experience on this earth, that is the only thing we have? Is that the only life we will have?
When you say the experience on the earth, what do you mean by that?
So, because we talked about how, the system works here on Earth, like how everything goes, how we have these conflicts, and like you said, a lot of things, how to solve it. If I just use the word, if we are all souls in a body, do you think that just this is it.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. You can make life how you want it to be, and whether that fits in around other people in general, which most likely it won't. But so long as it's obviously, so long as it's within the realms of reality and so forth in that regard. Yes, no, that's not. It's not all. It's not all we have, right? If we had that sort of belief, everyone would be in the dumps, negative thought patterns, and there'd be no hope for humanity whatsoever. No, I don't think so. I think the way you perceive life, the way you experience life, the way you walk around in life, if you have that firm belief in yourself and that confidence and so forth, like, this is what I'm saying, like musicians, fighters, boxers, UFC fighters, athletes in general, right? You have to have that supreme confidence in yourself that things are going to work out for you in whatever form and capacity of life. Because if you don't have that, and people might think it's arrogant, people might think, when I say to people, I think I'm really good at rap. Some people might think, oh yeah, but are you though? Like you just saying that or something like that? Like, even if I genuinely believe I did not think that, you have to have that confidence in yourself that you're going to achieve that at some point in whatever avenue it may be. Because, yeah, because if you just had the belief that the system that we have in play right now within the world is all that we have, then no one would have any hope whatsoever. And that's the thing, because most people, they always look on different mainstream news outlets, and it's always, for me, if I ever do, I look at it like for 1 second. It's like doomsday, end of the world every single day.
Right.
There's always conflict, and it's always this, it's always that. But there's one famous quote from a manga, a Japanese manga called Vinland Saga.
Right.
And that's and for me, anime and manga, for me, they can be the greatest forms of learning lessons of life, basically. And one quote is, I have no enemies, right? I have no enemies. And obviously I don't have to explain any more in itself, but it's just like, I don't need to hate someone just because they're from a different country. I don't need to hate them just because, someone from their country might have done something bad to someone from my country, right? Whilst it's bad, I know that's not the whole population. While it's bad, I know it's not everyone within that one country that the governments make it out to be, that they're terrible people and stuff like that. No, it's not. It really isn't. But yeah, just have belief and faith in yourself. I have belief and faith that the world will get better, because it can get better. But it is down to all of us at the end of the day to make it so as well. So that's the best way I can describe it, to be fair.
No, that's beautiful, and that's a good message to end it for the people. Because it puts the power back. Well, like, it's up to us. We're in charge,
Absolutely. Well, we are in charge. We are in charge. And like, if you put your life in someone else's hand, it's not going to get any better. So put it in your hand and you'll be fine.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, yeah, we did an hour, 15 minutes.
Good timing.
So thank you, Charlie. Thank you for taking your time. Thank you for discussing all the topics. Like, not everyone likes to discuss all the topics that I just brought up. So thank you for that. And I really enjoyed the conversation. Like, it was a great conversation.
No, likewise. I really enjoyed it. Thank you for having me on. It's my first ever podcast episode I've done, and thoroughly enjoyed it. Guys, check out this guy's podcast, man. He does some really good content. Absolutely.
Thanks, Charlie. All right. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.